Hello and welcome back to Crew Call with the Scooters. I have the pleasure of being here today with Jamie Earnest, who is the Content Creation and Communications Coordinator for the Associated Artists of Pittsburgh. Jamie, thank you so much again for taking the time to be here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So for those of you who may not know, Jamie, why don't you give us a little backstory on the organization and the long history of the organization, actually.
Yeah. So the Associated Artists of Pittsburgh is the oldest continuously exhibiting visual arts organization in the country. It was founded in 1910, so that makes us almost, 110 years old. Our anniversary is actually this year, 110.
Wow.
And right now we have over 560 members. There's been notable past members such as Andy Warhol, Philip Pearlstein, and a few others. So there is a really, really long, rich history, and things have changed as they do over 110 years. But very happy to still be around and still be a part of the Pittsburgh arts community.
And what was the basis of this? Was it just for a community where they could feature different artists or help support the arts in terms of, those founding members?
Yeah, so the main goal is to exhibit artists within the Pittsburgh area. So you can apply to become a member, as it has always been for 110 years. And our main goal in the past has always been to provide exhibitions and other show opportunities for our members. And for a long time, we had our annual exhibition, which happens every year in the Carnegie Museum of Art. Most recently, we had it at the Westmoreland Museum back in 2019. And in addition to exhibitions, we also provide professional development opportunities, such as we just did a Taxes for Artists workshop. We did business and banking workshops, an artist contract workshop, all of these things to help build up our artist community and really provide them with all of the tools they need to get their work seen, sold, and grow themselves as their own individual businesses.
That's incredible. I mean, I think, I said to you before we started, we love art, we love artists. We've featured some artists on here, so we're huge fans of that. What have you seen, maybe even in the last, because I feel like the art community's even grown it's always been great and very rich here in Pittsburgh, which we love, but I feel like even in the last few years, it's really starting to take hold, and you're seeing new art pop up and new artists pop up. And what do you think is the reason behind that, if there is one, or just more people are now feeling that they can share it?
Yeah, I feel like, so I've been in Pittsburgh for about 8 years. I went to Carnegie Mellon, went to School of Art, got a BFA. And when I graduated, I wasn't sure if I was going to stick around, but I did end up sticking around and seeing a lot of support for younger emerging artists. I think might be one of the key factors that the arts tend to be flourishing right now in Pittsburgh. Lots of arts organizations working with local artists, such as like Casey Droege Cultural Productions, her little shop Small Mall, which sells local artwork and art pieces, jewelry, ceramics, with a commission rate for the artist. So I really found that it is a supportive community, in contrast to a lot of my other friends who graduated with me, my peers who moved to New York. It seems that the artist community in Pittsburgh is really open to sharing resources with each other, sharing opportunities, sharing information in ways where I find that the community really works on building itself up.
I think that's true. And we're seeing that a lot in a lot of different industries in Pittsburgh, which is exciting, I think. And yes. I know you've done different pieces, so let's talk a little bit about, COVID, unfortunately, has been here now for what seems like forever.
Too long.
Yeah, exactly. But how have you had to adapt? I mean, you just mentioned quickly about, the different workshops that you're having. I'm guessing a lot of those are virtual, or have they gone more back to in person? How have you managed throughout this time to keep that community connected?
Yeah. So starting back in March, all of our staff began to work from home. We closed the gallery. We had a whole lineup of like fundraisers, exhibitions, events lined up for 2020 that obviously didn't end up happening because we needed to stay safe. As time went on, we started doing different initiatives online, offering online professional development events, like the taxes for artists that I mentioned, the artist contract, those were all Zoom events that were ticketed, and a way to provide our members with something that we would be normally doing, just not in person. And additionally, after consulting with our board, following the CDC guidelines and assessing what would be safe, we have decided to open up the gallery. It opened back in July, I believe. And so far we've had 3 exhibitions. The one that I'm currently around is the 3rd.
Great.
And we are following CDC guidelines. We are open only by appointment. So we're thinking, you know, it is good for people to get out and see art, but in ways that is safe for everybody involved. So those are 2 of the initiatives that we've been doing to kind of cope with that, but it still is different because we don't have openings. So no big opening party for the artists and their friends and people who want to support the arts. But we still are offering opportunities for our members' work to be exhibited and potentially sold as well.
And I know the one piece, or was it like the installation or piece, was that 6 feet?
Yes, that was part of 6 Feet exhibition.
Is that part of that? And do you want to explain a little bit on what that is in more depth on that, or is that just the full program?
So 6 Feet was the previous exhibition that we had before this one. This one is currently called To the Republic for Which It Stands. It's only open until November 11th, so I don't know if this will be going out before then. But 6 Feet was an exhibition where we invited our members to submit work that they made during quarantine, you know, works made during isolation during the beginning months of the pandemic, which is why we named it 6 Feet. There's a great piece that was featured in several local publications like the City Paper, a piece by Divika Peel, where she created this bunker, essentially, like came and installed this huge bunker. I couldn't tell, it was probably like 15 feet by 15 feet to kind of symbolize the times that we were in. And I really think it was a powerful piece, and everybody that came in was like, this hits the nerve with a lot of people because it's artists using these times to create something meaningful and impactful. And I'm really excited we got to show Divika's piece in the show.
That's incredible. So now we have this piece until it goes on to the 11th. What comes after? Is there anything else planned for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so we have one more exhibition. It's celebrating our 110th year anniversary. It's called 110 by 110 by 110, where we will have 110 artworks available, all for sale for $110. And this is kind of piggybacking off of an exhibition we do every year around the winter called Off the Wall, where we invite artists to submit works at a certain price point that are normally smaller, so that when they're sold during the exhibition, the buyer can just take it off the wall and go home. And it works really well for holidays, great for gifts. So that exhibition coming up will be here in our space at Associated Artists of Pittsburgh in Lawrenceville. And that opens in November. Let me double check on that date. But we are really excited for that because this exhibition is only up for 2 more days, and it has been going really, really well, especially because, you know, To the Republic for Which It Stands, all of this work is very much about art and activism, political art, things like that. And the 110 by 110 by 110 exhibition I was just speaking about will open on November 20th.
That's incredible. So I love that you can purchase it all, and it's all for $110. Is it only?
Yes, great price point.
That's a great price point for gifts and just in general. So can I buy it online, or is it only if you come to the gallery?
So we will also have it online to make it available. And we've been doing that as well with other exhibitions, just because we know everybody can't necessarily make it out.
And what do you think moving forward in terms of art and galleries and, you know, us not knowing what the world will be next year with, you know, the pandemic? Do you see a lot more virtual events happening? Do you see artists, you know, changing the way that they are presenting what they're doing is it becoming more public art? Like, what do you see from your end in terms of how art is going to advance in the years to come?
Well, one, I've been living my life virtually, it feels like, along with everybody else. But another thing that I noticed that the rest of the AAP staff, the executive director, and I kind of talked about beginning in May was we were all working from home, and we were all talking about like, oh, it's so great that we have this piece of art in our home. We have this little collection. We bought this piece from a local artist. So having art around you from your work from home space gave us this idea of like, oh, maybe this stay at home order, work from home, new way of living life for the time being, for the foreseeable future, is a good way to start cultivating new collectors. So getting people thinking about, oh, we're at home all the time. Wouldn't it be nice to have something like a local art piece on the wall? And not only do you get joy in having that piece in your home and getting to live and work around it, you are supporting a local artist as well. So that's what I'm really hoping will be happening, is people starting to value artwork a little more. And artists have been especially hit so hard by this pandemic that I'm really hoping that the community can step up and support artists in these ways. Just a little thing as buying a small piece from our 110 show for $110. What a great way to start a collection.
Absolutely. And do you have like a certain amount of artists that are part of the association, or can anyone become, if I'm an artist, could I just become, is that becoming a member, or is that something separate?
So becoming an artist member requires that you live within a 150-mile radius of Pittsburgh. We have been like supporting our artists who have lived here for a long time, who are members that end up moving to New York or Philly or where have you, and they maintain their membership. But yeah, it's based on an application that we do once or twice a year to apply to become a member.
That's great. But it's, well, depending on appointment, but it's open to the public. So I can come and see,
yes.
Make an appointment, come down to the gallery. You said it's located in Lawrenceville, and then
yes.
And view and purchase right on the spot when it comes to that.
Yeah, and it's super easy on our website, www.aapgh.org. You can make a gallery reservation there. You can also view our online store that features members' work. We have an online store specifically right now focused around living with art. So the idea of cultivating new collectors and really trying to figure out how we can get our artists' work seen in these times where we can't have large gatherings. How do we support our artists? How do we get their work sold if we can't, hold all of these large openings, right?
And I know you're very modest, but you're also an artist yourself, correct?
Yes, I am.
And what type of art do you do, and how have you, passed the time creatively as well?
Yeah, I was a painter for a long time. I ended up getting a little bored with painting about a year and a half ago. So I've been kind of exploring other ventures in sculpture and fabric type stuff. But it's been really difficult to find the motivation for myself to work. I have a studio space over in Southside at Brewhouse Association, and just being in that community of artists has really been helpful. It's a slow process because a lot of my exhibitions that were coming up in 2020 were canceled, postponed, indefinitely, etc. So it's kind of freeing because I feel like I can really experiment right now and try a bunch of new stuff because it seems like there are really no stakes at the moment. I don't have anything coming up, so this is the perfect time to experiment.
That's great. I think that's wonderful. And as say someone who's watching this who doesn't really know art, what would you tell them to look for, or how would you decide, have them help deciding which piece or what type of art that they like? Is there some fun facts that you have or thoughts?
I'm a big believer in gut feeling. So whether it's like a color that draws you, a specific image that draws you, something, whatever it is, even if it's the tiniest little part of a drawing that pulls you into that piece to look harder, those are the pieces I suggest. If you were thinking about buying artwork, invest in your gut.
I love that. I think it's a good life motto too. Your gut pretty much tells you what to do.
Yes.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much. Keep up the great work. It's incredible work that you're doing right now. I know it's a tough time, but I think I love that we have this association right here in Pittsburgh. I think a lot of people might not know it, so it's a wonderful organization to be part of and to come out and see.
Yeah, and our gallery is located at Ice House Studios in Lawrenceville. It's 143rd Street, Unit 107. This exhibition's only open for 2 more days, but if you go to our website, you can always reserve a time to see our next exhibition and view artwork that's available for you to purchase for your own home. Start collecting art. Support the local arts right now, because this is the moment that they need it. Not only arts organizations, but individual artists. Whether you're purchasing art from AAP or just directly from the artist, either way I see is extremely important for people to understand and really invest in.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the time, and we love the work, like I said, you're doing, and we are a huge fan of especially the local artists here. So thank you again.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you
Thanks
soon.
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Bye, Jamie.
Bye.